Everyone has a right to education, says Article 26, Section 1 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. However, education students with disability in Nigeria is not without some challenges. This is because people with special needs strive to survive amid hostile conditions. For a long time in many African countries, persons with disabilities have been marginalized. In some cases, parents regard having such children as a curse. Therefore, one finds that these persons are discriminated against on the job market, in schools, and the provision of facilities and programs meant to uplift their well-being, and in education opportunities. In fact, in some African countries, such as Nigeria, derogatory labels are used to describe these people. In southwest Nigeria, it is not uncommon for local people in rural communities to refer to a person with disability as Abirun. The word Abirun connotes a person who is contagious. In other words, the person is seen not as carrying a contagious disease, but as being contagious himself or herself. Do persons with disability ever have access to right education? How are they being treated in the society? What is the determining factor to get them into schools? Do they ever have opportunity to go to higher institution of learning? Let's hear from persons with disabilities.
My name is Komala Ferut Oluwashin, a student of Lagos State Polytechnic, Mass Communication Department. I joined Lagos State Polytechnic 2018/2019.
My name is Gani Blum. I am Wakadadi, Edidu.
My name is Abdusalam Balikis, a student of Lagos State Polytechnic and the two Mass Communication Departments.
Hi, good day. My name is Bolwatife Arulaji. I'm in Editu Science Laboratory Tech in Laspotech, Lagos State Polytechnic. I'm physically challenged. I have a burns in my hand. This is it.
Barwa Yusuf Olatunji is my name. A student of Lagos State Polytechnic, HND2 Mass Communication. I'm visually impaired. I have a visual impairment, and it all started right from childhood. It was not inborn, neither is it inheritance or heredity. So ultimately, it is not by gene. So it is by it was right from my childhood. It all started when I was in nursery school.
Actually, the school is not a special education, and the lecturer they did not study special education. But when I got the admission, they said they have typewriter, just typewriter and the typewriter is not that function and all those things, so I have to provide my own one I'm used with, so which during the lecture I will use my phone to record the lecture. Some of my classmates who are friendly, because it's not everybody that they are willing to assist, so some will help me to record some notes. No, I cannot just record everything when the lecture is going on, so those that jot the notes, so they just help me to record the points. So then during the test, some I will write the text by they will read the question for me. I will use my typewriter to write the test, and also during the exam too. Yes, I can say yes. because as I said earlier, Laspo Tech is not a special school for maybe for handicap, for blind and all those things. So they are just this method, this visually impaired and physically, they are just is a new system, so which they are trying to adjust or adapt to. So some students, some they have not been physically challenged, they don't have any relationship with them before, so seeing assistance from them, they see it, shey if I help these people, I will not also be contacted with this thing. So some that segment is there, and some who are willing to help, they just let me help these people. So is, can I say 50, is, can I say 40 60 sha?
I was born. I was born like this. My experience that music was not too easy. It was not easy for me. It was not easy for me. That transportation you do. I really thought the people will tell me sometimes. I want to, I don't do jobs. Yes, my experience that music. That music has made it easy for me. That I can carry keke napep to anywhere. Anywhere my turn is go. I can carry it to anywhere. I can ride anywhere. I can ride fast, but I'm trained like this. Life project layer. They don't give me PPS of everything. They don't give me PPS. I can ride them for anything and they will give me. I ride them. Life project they don't give them. Better than that. Nobody like me. Life project they don't give me better than that.
It's not really difficult. It's not really difficult for me because I was born like this and I'm used to this. I do things myself. Without anybody, I can do things myself. But the little challenges I have is only at times people make jest of me that I can't do what they can do. But I always prove them wrong that I can do more better. That I can do more better than what they expect me to do. So the only that's just the only challenges that at times I may not be happy that with my challenge, with my disability or my physical disability this thing, but there's not really any difficulties because I'm used to it. I use my hand to do whatever I want to do. In class, they do not give me special treatment. They treat me like others. I do my assignments, I do my tasks like others because they used to see me that I don't have any disability and I appreciate that.
Yeah, the fire explosion happened when I was 13 years, 2012. So it happened like a lantern explosion. The lantern exploded and my clothes caught fire. So I was admitted in the hospital, Lagos State University Teaching Hospital. I spent close to 3 years in hospital and then I did up to 12 surgeries because the burns was much. So my experience in Last Protect, I'm in the science department that needs my two hands to be useful for me, but I find it really difficult for me to handle equipment and laboratory. I find it really difficult to do some experiments in the lab, but with my own self-confidence and my passion for the course I'm into, I had to just put in all my best and all my strength to be the best among the best and bring out the best in me. People have been abusive and I've been like, I feel so down, like I feel so sad sometimes because people can't just tell it to your face and because they know how you feel, but they tell it at your back. Though there was a time we actually chatted in the group chats, like our school group chats, because our department group chats, where people just be like, that girl with one hand, that girl, blah, 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 but I just don't let that weigh me down. I keep pushing forward just to achieve what I want to. There's no special treatment given to those that are able and those that are disabled in Last Protect, because the few all of us are the same, and the few we are capable to do whatever it is others are doing. So like they take us as one and treat us the same way. So we are no different.
So I was in class on this very day, on that very day, although I was too young to remind, so to remember what actually happened. So it was my mother who is no more. She was the one that told me how it all happened. So she said I was in class when the sight deficiency started. So she said I was playing with pencil. So in the midst of playing with pencil, so I don't know how it got poked into my eye. So that was how the sight problem developed. So ever since then, I had to go to some hospitals to go for a checkup to diagnose what actually happened, how severe the situation was then. After going through some series of tests that has to do with the sight problem, that was in the hospital, the general hospital in Lagos Island. So I went through a series of tests, and when the result came out, they said I had to go through that I would need to undergo surgery. So I underwent two different surgeries at both eyes. And by the time I was done with the surgery, all were to no avail. So I was placed on drugs. I was placed on uh, eye capsule drugs and eye drops. So I used that one for a while, for some while rather. So I used for almost 2 to 3 years, and there was no improvement. So I had to go to another hospital, another general hospital in Lagos Island. So they placed me due to the severe severe predicaments of the site. So I was placed on eye drop. Sorry, I was placed on to be I was told to be using glasses. So I was diagnosed to be using glasses. So I started using glasses too. So I use the eye glasses. I used for over a decade, and honestly, it was not even it was not improving. It was not improving at all. There was no improvement, regardless, despite the fact that I was using the glasses. I left there. I stopped going to that hospital, to the second hospital. So I now decided to change the hospital I was using. So I went to a private hospital this time around. I think was situated in a VI. The name of the hospital, if my memory still serves me right, the name of the hospital is Queen Eye Hospital. So even when I got there too, the first thing they asked me that, okay, they asked for the site, the eye chart, so the history of this eye predicament. So I gave it to them so as to know where to pick it from, where to start from, where to take it up from. So after going through some tests there too, so they told me they had to placed me on drugs for a while, another drugs entirely from the one I was using previously before I went to that hospital. So I started using drugs to different from time to time, and it got to a point where they said, okay, that it has now time has now come for me to go another surgery again. So I had to go through another surgery. This time around, they had to call an international doctor to come operate to come and do the surgery for me. So after going through another surgery 2 different times, making it 4 surgery that I actually underwent. So I've done 4 different surgeries, and all were to no avail, and I was only placed on to continue using the glasses, bearing in mind that one day it will get better, it will improve. So although the sight I was short sighted then, it was not as bad as it is now, because I can't even see right now. So I'm as good as someone that is blind that cannot see. My experience thus far as a student of a higher institution, regardless of the disability, and there's this common saying in the world of a visually in the world of in the world of the blind, where they say there is ability in disability. Of course, it's really not been easy, to be honest. It's really not been easy, but then we just have to give God the glory, because for somebody that is visually impaired especially when it comes to the mobility, to be able to move around. Of course, you don't expect me to be able to move alone. I will need, someone as a side guardians. It really not been easy, but thankfully I have a lot of classmates who are always ready to help, who are always ready to assist. So that made it a lot easier for me to be able to move around. But in terms of how I go about my class activities, of course, for a visually impaired person to be in a higher institution, then the person must have gone through rehabilitation. He must have gone through things that will enable him to further education. Take for example, when I'm in class, I do use my phone to record. At times, apart from using my phone to record, some other options that I do in having notes, in making sure that I have my own notes, so as to prepare for anything that has to do with academics, is there's a notepad on phone where I seek friends or my classmates, assistance in helping me to write from a physical note into or onto into my phone, on my phone. So there's a notepad that is more like a note on a phone. So that is more like a key point to me, where I just need to they just need to help me write out the key points that may not necessarily be the things that I will need to write in exam. Concerning preferential treatment, well, I wouldn't say I have gotten any preferential treatment, or I have any leverage that has to do with preferential treatment from the lecturers or so. But one thing that I can really say, or I can say that is quite relative to, or that is quite synonymous to any preferential treatment, is how they attend to me, how they talk to me, in terms of friendliness, how kind-heartedness they are towards me. So I can as well relate that to, because I know there are some lecturers where, to other students, I see sometimes I'm always there when they attend to other students, how harsh they could be. But when it comes to me, there's a certain way they talk to me, and I'll be like, okay, is it not this lecturer that I was listening to, that was talking to that was talking to one of my classmates, that was sounding so blunt or so harsh? But when it comes to me, they are quite friendly towards me. So I can actually consider that as one of the preferential things that I get in school.
My advice for them is, I will advise them to try as much as possible to be educated, because half education is, I think, in Nigeria is nothing. Because let me say, in labor market, they are doing with a competition, because those that even have their full sights, they are there, they have not gotten the job, not talk less of blind or physically challenged. So they have to be encouraged by trying and further their education. At least if you have some qualification, you'll be able to get, you won't be a liability to the society and to your family, and you'll be useful.
My advice for those medical guarantee that they not feel pure. They do feel by them. They do work freely.
My advice to those people that have physical disability or challenge, that used to look down on themselves, that they can't do this, they can't do that, maybe due to their environment, I would advise them to see themselves as other people and don't think they can't do things, and to have courage on themselves. So people won't make jest of them, or people won't look down on them. That was my advice.
My advice for those that are physically challenged is that they should focus on what they want. They shouldn't look down on themselves. They shouldn't let anything or people to weigh them down. They are who they are. They are the best version of themselves. They are God's favorites. And their passion will give them hope. Like, you have to push further. You don't have to let what people say weigh you down. You don't have to let what people do weigh you down. Just have it in your mind that this thing that this person is doing, I want to do same. I can do better. If you put passion into something that you love, if you put passion into something that you want, I'm very, very sure you're going to get there. And if you have passion for things that you know you can't reach, that your physical disability won't let you get to, if you have hope and your passion for it will trigger people out there to help you and assist you to get to wherever it is you want to get to.
Okay, advice to my fellow physically challenged mankind or students, if you may. So what I can really say in brevity is that regardless of situation you find yourself, even for a normal person, he or she goes through a lot of challenges, let alone someone that is one way or the other physically challenged. But the first thing first that I believe, based on experience and exposure that I have over the years, is not to lose hope. That's the first thing. As long as you don't lose hope, and if you are blessed to be around those who are always looking after you positively, because of course there are some people who may not really appear to be what they really are. So that's why I put the phrase positively. So even if you are not that hopeful, or if you are lost in hope, and you have people who are always encouraging you, who keep you afloat in terms of your in terms of your being, then I think there's still something to count on. Be hopeful, believe in yourself, regardless of the challenges you have or you are in. And there are some things that you just have to take actions in terms of not just sitting and laying back, in terms of some things that will keep you going as human being. Take for example, before I realized there was a rehabilitation center for somebody that is blind, for me to even accept that yes, I am this way, it is not by my power but it is just what it is, then you have accepted fate to start with. And for me to now accept to be in the midst of people that are visually impaired, it goes a long way, because it gives you hope. When I got to the visually impaired world, where at the rehabilitation center, I realized that I was not only the one that was going through visual impairment. So by the time I got there, I realized that there were quite a lot of people like me who are also going through the same challenges or similar challenges. So that way I was like, okay, if it could be that I'm not the only one that is going through this, then there is hope. Don't give up on yourself. That is, in terms of tenacity, make sure you are always close to God, because whatever you do, you put God first, and that is why I'm where I am today, because I accepted the faith, I kept the hope afloat. Then I'm always being proactive. That is, not just to lay back believing someday somehow God will do it without you taking actions. So by all this, I'm able to achieve, at least I'm a HND holder today, and grateful to God. I would like to end the advice by saying, remember, there's always an adage that says every cloud has a silver lining, and as well as there's always the light or a light at the end of the tunnel for someone who believes in him or herself. If you don't believe in yourself and you think there's light at the end of the tunnel, then it's as good as nothing.
Those, among many others, are the challenges encountered by persons with disabilities. Nobody wants to marry a person with disability, because it will mean a perpetual of disability in their family line. Furthermore, a person with disability is considered too weak and sick to be able to work and make a living. he or she is better off on the street asking for alms from other members of the community in order to survive, where some family consider it indignity to their societal status to have one of them a beggar. They quickly get him or her some menial job like fixing bad shoes or bags. No government policies or legislations adequately protects them against discrimination or social exclusion. The portrayal of disability issues as charity and stigma has socially excluded most Nigerians living with disabilities. Let's hear what the Dean of Student Affairs in Lagos State Polytechnic has to say on this.
I am Oladayo Ibrahim, a town planner, a chief lecturer in urban and regional planning, and by the grace of God, the sitting Dean Student Affairs at Lagos State Polytechnic. Admission into LASPOTECH can be broadly categorized to two sides: the admission for full-time and the admission for part-time. For admission for full-time, ND, it has to be through JAMB. The candidate coming for ND must have gone through JAMB. Actually, it's JAMB that admits. We are just facilitating it here. So, the fellow will have to sit for JAMB with the three relevant subject combination that's relevant to the course the prospective candidate wants to do. All the candidates must have a good school certificate, 5 credits. That is admission for ND full-time. And there's admission for HND full-time too. For that, candidate must have passed through ND in a recognized institution in Nigeria or abroad before that candidate can be considered for HND full-time admission. There's admission to our part-time courses too. We have 3 different levels of part-time courses. We have the regular part-time courses for Saturday and Sundays. We have the evening part-time courses, and we have the day program part-time courses based in our Surulere campus. For those two, candidates must have the relevant school certificate, pass at 5 credits. At that level, candidate is allowed to combine results for 2 different years. And of course, he will fill the form, and sometimes candidate may have a deficiency in one course or the other, which will be allowed to remedy that course before he finishes the program here. So basically, these are the conditions for admission and different type of admission that we have in Lagos State Polytechnic. Yes, physically challenged students have been admitted into Polytechnic and will be admitted to Polytechnic wherever they show interest. Lagos State government, I think they have a program for physically challenged students with respect to admission into the institution. And I think they make one of the fundamental way to assist physically challenged people to go into higher institution is that I think they make it mandatory that the admission will be tuition free. I think so. They are are not supposed to pay, but then because I am not very sure, I have registered with a particular agency of government who will forward the particular of that candidate to us here, and when that is done, that candidate will be admitted when the candidate is qualified to read the course of interest to that candidate. Or about infrastructure for physically challenged students. That we are still working on it on campus vigorously. The rector is doing all the best because some of the facilities that we are still using on this campus, they are inherited facilities from the former farm settlement. And so that infrastructure to aid the movement of the physically challenged students are not built into it. But in the new facilities that are being constructed, physically challenged students are being thought of and provision are being made to assist them in their classroom. Like I have already said, when they are going to be admitted, usually they must have had their school certificate at 5 credit level. Perhaps except if we are advised by the agency of government that we talked about the nature of the nature of this disability and the preference that we may have to consider for such students. Otherwise, the preference is that we don't normally lower the admission requirement either for physically challenged or for anybody. It's the same requirement for satisfied. The only preference perhaps is the waiver of central institution. Of course, like any human institution, physically challenged students are assisted. Our students, our staff, lecturers, they are encouraged to give as much assistance as possible to any physically challenged student that are listed for any of our courses here. There have been several instances of physically challenged students qualifying their various chosen professions, be it law, be it architecture, be it all manner of profession. Some physically challenged they have rose up to the occasion. They have gone through the whole hog and they are qualified professional today. Yusuf here called me, was it yesterday? 2 days ago? I don't even know. I don't know. I'm just seeing for the first time today that he want to have an interview audience with me. He mentioned something about physically challenged. And I said, why not? Today, Friday, because I will not be around next week. We'll go on management retreat. And I encourage him to come either today before Juma service or after Juma service so that we see what he wants. He is an example of a physically challenged people that is rising up to the occasion. It's now in HND2. Is that correct? HND2 mass communication is here after his project, final year project, interviewing me in furtherance of one of the requirements of award of HND, interviewing me, interviewing all of that people. So physically challenged people who have the intellect, who have the interest, should really pursue their interest, pursue their vocation to any level. And of course, the society is there to assist in whichever way possible. But physically challenged should not be limited by whatever handicap they have. They should pursue their dream and achieve what they trying to achieve. It may not be easy, even for the physically, for the able body. Things are not that easy. but it may be tough. But then I encourage them to get pursue this, follow through, and I'm sure the society will support and they will achieve their dream.
For a long time, children with special needs are educated along with other regular children in schools. The notion of special education was a Western phenomenon and concept in Nigeria. How were children with special needs educated without special education program?